everybody, and welcome back to my channel, The Night Owl Stitcher. My name is Mackenzie, and thank you so much for clicking on my video. Today I am going to be doing a kit up a project with me. So this is the project I'm going to be kitting up. It is artwork by Malcolm Watson called Freebie Steampunk Owl, and this is what it looks like. Obviously so beautiful, just gorgeous. And I will be prepping everything from fabric to floss to everything I need in my project bag and what is on my tablet. So stay tuned and I hope you enjoy. Okay, everybody, so first step that I always do when I'm kitting up a project is to print out the first few pages of the pattern. So it's not the actual pattern I'm printing out, but instead just the information page along with the chart instructions and then the floss lists. So not only does this show you all the colors that you'll need, but it also shows you the amount of skeins that you'll need for each color. This project calls for DMC. It is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, as you can see. And it is one of their freebies on their website. I believe it's still up right now, so if you're interested, go check it out for sure. Okay, and then I just have a paper here that goes over all of the dimensions that I was calculating for a bigger piece of fabric that I had. I ended up splitting it into two pieces kind of down the center here, one for my owl and one for another project called Galaxy Gazing that I want to start eventually. And I'm just trying to figure out the dimensions for each one by splitting this bigger piece into two. So I've actually done that. I'm actually seeing a stain on camera that I didn't notice when I was cutting everything. So that's something that I'm gonna have to wash out before stitching. I did just thrift this fabric from a Goodwill. It was over a yard. If you saw my last Flosstube, you'll see how big it actually was initially. So I've cut this down. If you're interested in seeing how I do that, then I'm happy to post another video about the dimensions, but I will show you that I use an app on my phone or iPad called Xstitch. Here, I'll show you. Called Xstitch Calc. So this is what I use to calculate all of my fabrics. So I like this app specifically because it actually rounds up the value. Sorry, you can see the reflection of my ring light here, but it actually rounds up the value so that you know you're going to have enough and you don't have to measure right down to the, point whatever of an inch. So I was able to use this calculator and calculate not only what I need for this project, but also the fabric that I need for Galaxy Gazing. And I was able to figure out what dimensions each of those projects should be and how to divide up this larger piece of fabric and cut it so that it fits both pieces. And then I've calculated it based on just my rough calculations here with a 2.5 border would allow me to use this whole piece of the 1 yard fabric or just over a yard fabric for both pieces if I kept a 2.5 inch border. I usually go for a 3-inch border, but with the 3-inch border, I was finding that there just wasn't enough wiggle room between the two projects. Like I just didn't have enough fabric. So I'm okay cutting the fabric size for each project down by 1/2 inch all the way around each piece. So that would mean this project, if divided in half, pretend this is divided in half. There. If each project had a 2.5 inch border, that would allow 2.5 inches on each side for each project. So in the center, I'd actually have a 5-inch gap if I were to stitch both projects on the same fabric without cutting it. But obviously I did cut it and that was how I did this math here. But anyway, so I usually go for 3, 2.5 is what I ended up with, which told me I needed a 26 by 37 inch piece of fabric. So that is what I have cut here is my 26 by 37 inch fabric of Ada. This stain is really, that's all I can see now, and I had never seen that before. Anyway, I'm also debating just washing this whole thing just because it was thrifted. Probably to be on the safe side is not a bad idea. So that's the fabric out of the way. And again, if you want me to go into like a more in-depth tutorial on how to cut pieces, how to like do the math manually, I'm happy to do that. I know a lot of people just buy, you know, fat quarters or fat halves, whatever works for them based on a calculator, but that's just a really quick, simple overview. It's not very complicated, but if you have any questions, let me know, or I'm happy to do another video just totally going over that and that alone. Let me know. Okay, so sorry, throwing these hoops around. Okay, the next thing after fabric and after you have your pattern printout, what I like to do actually is put my pattern in a little sleeve. So this is just a booklet sleeve, and then it comes with a binding that you just slide on once you put your papers in there, and it just keeps it all neat and together in a little book form that I throw in my project bags. Now, I'm not going to be putting this on yet just because I will be prepping my floss, and I find it easier to flip through my booklet without the book trying to like fall closed on me. But that is something that I get. I just got these from Dollarama. This is what the package looks like. I've had these for years. I've had these since like before university, I think. So I just keep reusing them for different projects. And when I'm done with one, I just put them back in this little bag that it came in, and just keep reusing them. So it did come with all these colors of bindings. I try to color code everything as much as possible just because it makes my brain happy, but definitely not needed. And you'll notice that most of my stuff is going to be blue today. The only thing that's yellow is this because I thought it kind of worked with the background just because I ran out of blue binding. Okay, so the next thing that you'll need are needles. So I have mine labeled in this little jar. Again, I just got from Dollarama and used my Cricut to label, so I have them for all different needle sizes. I've also labeled the top just so it's easy because I have it actually stored in a lipstick container. I'll go through my storage in another video, whether it's my threads or, you know, all of my fabrics and patterns, everything else. I'll do that in another video. This is the chart that I like to use when I'm determining what size needle I like to use for my fabric. So this is just a rough guideline. If you guys want to use a different needle size that you're more comfortable with a specific fabric count, you definitely can. But as you can see, the needle numbers are listed down here along with the Aida or even weave, so your fabric count up here, and they're kind of correlated. So 26, 16, 24, 14, 22 is close to 22 count even weave, but it's, you know, the Aida and the even weave, I know most of us know, but if you don't know, that the counts for Aida, if you multiply them by 2, you're going to get the counts for even weave, which is why when we stitch over 2 on even weave, it's equivalent to the stitch count on Aida. So all of these numbers are kind of correlated, so it's easy enough to remember. The only ones that are kind of off-putting for me are the 6 count and 8 count, which I don't use much of anyway on Aida. It's kind of these 3 that I use the most. And I guess 18 count Aida as well. I have not yet stitched on 36 and 55 count, but or 40 count, but this is just a general guideline. So along with my 18 count Aida, I will follow this chart, which means I need a 28 count 28 count needle. So that's what I got here, which I will throw onto my project along with a needle minder. And I thought this one was fitting. This is one that my boyfriend got me. They were actually earrings prior to me adding a magnet on the back and using them as needle minders, and they're just adorable. And I thought it was quite fitting for my channel. So along with that, I will have scissors just to prep my thread, but I also throw in my box of notions that I carry around with me everywhere. So I have a bunch of stuff in here that I carry around with me no matter what project I'm doing. So this will either go in my project bag or just like an extra tote bag that I bring around my project bag in. And then I have this floss winder. So this was not my idea. I cannot take credit for this idea. I saw this on another Flosstuber's channel, but the actual designer of this type of product, I will put the name at the bottom of the screen. I'm forgetting now, but it's just on Etsy. But this person came up with this idea, and I figured my dad is kind of good at woodworking. I would ask him to make me one and tell him the measurements that I need. He did do that, and then with my Cricut, I just added my name, and he put a glaze over it so that it won't, I don't know if you can tell, but it's pretty flat on there. It won't come off. So yeah, that's that. And I will show you how this works as well when we prep the floss. Now, Cricut has been having a bit of an issue. If you guys use Cricuts and did the update, my update's actually freezing my computer. So I wasn't able to do any more of these labels. I make all these labels for my bobbins, for all the DMC numbers, and I have 3 drawers of bobbins, which are my master set. I have not been able to finish labeling my bobbins because Cricut stopped working on me. So for the rest of the threads that I don't have bobbinated yet, just because I don't have the bobbins labeled, I'm going to be putting on this thread card, which I just got off of Amazon. Came in a pack of like 12, I think. And they're great. So I just use these labels from, again, the dollar store. Little rectangular labels. This is what the package looks like. Multi-use labels. And just write on with a pen or a Sharpie my DMC numbers and label them here. And then you can use these little heart holes to pop through a ring. Along with the bobbins that will also go on these floss rings. So these bobbins are Atom Heart cross stitch bobbins. I got them off of her website. They are amazing because they can be used as bobbins for storage, as you can see here, which are just gorgeous. Or you can use them when you're using a project. If you're a floss drop person like I am, you can use them as drops, and then this smaller hole holds your extra little cutoffs of threads that you don't want to throw out yet because there's enough on there to do another strand with, but you've separated it from the rest of the skein. Same goes for this. What I will sometimes do is, and I might need to get another floss card depending on how much more floss I have, that aren't on bobbins, and if I don't have another blue one, I'll grab a yellow one. But what you can do, and what I will sometimes do, is label one side of each of these, like of the floss card. Put your skeins on one side, and then your extra cutoffs you can just put on the other side. So the number, let's say it is 602, I can label this 602. And then my other cutoffs I can put on this side. And I know that 602 correlates to the number across, but these are my cutoff side, and then this is my full skein side. Or you can just add the cutoffs right back onto where the rest of the skein is. I just find it easier to separate it sometimes. And then you can flip through them like a book, but you'd be using more floss cards because it only holds half of the number of flosses instead of, filling both sides with floss. Anyway, that's a little tip. So I believe that's all of the preamble that I have here. The last thing I will say actually is I put these little heart charms that I just got from Michael's on my rings. These rings also come with the Atom Heart cross stitch bobbins, and what I love about these bobbins too, you'll notice, is that if you put one on a ring, they actually go over that joint in the center, which a lot of the older plastic bobbins, and these are acrylic, a lot of the older plastic bobbins or cardboard bobbins don't go over the hole, or the hole doesn't go over the ring joint, I've noticed. So I love that these do. It just makes it so much easier to flip through floss. So what I will do is add this little heart, or any type of little charm, just to mark the beginning and end of my threads. So when I'm flipping through threads, I know, oh, this is where this ring starts at number 602. So I know that, if I'm looking for a number smaller than 602, it's going to be on my previous ring or on my other ring. Okay, so I think that's all of the preamble. So what I will do, just in preparing my floss, is go through my floss list, and as I go, just add these from my Adam Hart cross stitch bobbins, add these to my rings, and then whatever floss that I come upon that has multiple skeins, I actually put in this little bag here, which I just got off Amazon, literally arrived today right before this video. They are, what size are these? I wrote them down somewhere. They are 9 inches by 4.5 inches, and they're perfect for if you use paper charts, pens, pencils, your scissors if you don't have a notions box, your floss threader. I like using them for any extra skeins that I haven't put on my rings. So if any of these DMC colors call for more than one skein, I usually only like to put one skein, or one skein only fits on a bobbin, but then I usually only put one skein on the floss card as well. So any extra skeins I'll just throw in here, and then I have a bag when I finish the skein on my bobbin or on my floss card, I can just throw it into my little bag here. You'll see me doing that throughout this process, and then once everything is done, I will throw everything into a larger project bag. Again, I got both of these from Amazon. So this is an A3 size. I also have an A4 size, which is the regular, just paper size. These also just arrived today. I've been typically using the A4 size, but this A3 size actually fits my hoop, which coincidentally is blue. This just happened to be the right size that I need for this project, or I thought it'd be a good size. But it fits my hoop perfectly. And this hoop does not fit in the A4 bags that I have. So it'll also fit larger Q snaps depending on the size. I did try I believe it was a 12 by 12, and it doesn't zip, but it does fully cover. So I do have another project where it's just sitting in there not zipped up, but they don't sell anything bigger, at least that I could find. So if you are a Q snap person but you like project bags, I recommend these, although just note the 12 by 12 Q snap will not zip up in here. But anyway, I still love it for what I need, and it fits my hoop and everything for this project, so it's perfect. Okay, so now that I've done all of that, I know I've said that a couple times, but now I've gone through all the preamble, I'm gonna go through my my floss list, and I'm going to start adding these to my rings and add whatever extra skeins I have onto my card that don't have bobbins, and then extra skeins in here that are more than one skein on a bobbin or a floss card. And I'm probably gonna speed you up through this process because it might take a little while. So I hope you enjoy, and I'm probably gonna put some music on in the background, and I will come back when that is all finished. I will see you guys when I'm back. Okay, so as you guys can see, these are obviously wound, and what I do when I wind them and put them in my drawer just so the ends don't pop out like crazy, although this one started, is I use a crochet hook to tuck the ends back underneath one of the, like a few of the strands on the bobbin. So when I'm working, I'll have this in the floss drop form. So like that. And then if I pull, let me see if I could show you guys. I'm sure you guys have seen this trick before, but for those of you that haven't, as I dump all my needles out. You can actually grab one strand of the floss. Can you guys see? One strand of floss, pull it up. And then you can attach it. When you pull it out, you don't have any knots in the rest of your fabric in the rest of your floss. And then if you, let's say you stitch with this and you cut off an end, this is a remaining piece, but you want to use this piece next, so you want to keep it separate, you just put it through this other end of the bobbin and put it on the floss strap as you would the rest of the skein, just by putting the end, whoops, through this hole here. See? So then you know you can use that one next. And this is the rest of your floss. So I'm going to start popping these out of the rest of what's wrapped, because I'll be able to fit more on the skein. Obviously they fit a little more closely together than when they're all jumbled up. And I want to fit about 30 colors, I think, on each ring. Although that doesn't take into account that some of them are not bobbinated, because this chart uses 90 colors. So if I get about 30 on each ring, I should be in pretty good shape. So, all right, I'll head back into prepping these threads. Hey everybody, this is my first floss ring. Gorgeous, love these colors. Also, I know some people might not like the kinks in the floss. That doesn't bother me at all when I'm stitching. I don't really see it come out in my work at all. So yeah, that doesn't bother me. And the payoff for having it look the way it does when it's stored and on a floss ring, like, I don't mind it at all. I love it. Anyway, so that's ring number 1. So there's 30 on there. I'm gonna go ahead and start the second one. There's the second one done. I got 29 on this one before I got to the threads that are not bobbinated. So I have to now start on my floss cards, and I'm definitely going to need more than one. But that's that one. Beautiful. So I actually won't need this. One thing though about these, I love the size of them. They're obviously the large size, so they fit 30 floss drops, floss bobbins on here so comfortably. And again, just to show you guys what I meant by like this being like a marker for your beginning and end, if I'm flipping through, I can realize, like, I can figure out, oh, right there, that's where my start point is. That's where the numbers start on this bobbin, and these are all the higher numbers. This is the lowest one on the skein, or on the skein. This is the lowest numbered skein on the ring, and this one is the highest. So if it's not in between these two, I know it's not on this ring. Okay, now I'm going to start with the floss cards. I just have to get a couple more. Okay, so I finished labeling these guys. I had one extra one because there's 90 colors and I wanted 30 on each ring, and I was one short on one of the rings. So I had one extra color, and I was debating putting this on a bobbin, but then I realized because it's the last number, it would throw me off. And then I was thinking, do I just put it, you know, up here? But then I think that would bother me also. So I have one whole card with one number on it. Once I get the bobbin slowly labeled, I can start moving things over. So eventually I can get rid of this extra card. But for now, that's what we got. And actually I'm going to replace this one because it's kind of bothering me. I'm just a perfectionist. Don't mind me, guys. Okay, that's a little better. Okay, so I actually wasn't even thinking when I said we didn't need this ring. I'm gonna throw these on this last ring. Like this. So then again, you can flip through them like it's a book, which I love. So, perfect. If you wanted, you could put another one on here. I know some people will flip them up like this as well if you put two. So you can do that also. I just find there's more flexibility like this. But yeah, and then so again, like I was explaining, what I'm going to do is put like the other ends of the same color opposite each of these, just so I can keep them separate from the rest of the skein. So now that I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and grab all the extra skeins that I have that will go on here. And I'm going to use my floss, I don't even know what to call this, thread measuring cutter thing. And you guys will see how I use it, but I will explain when I do the first one. Okay, so I've got the thread all laid out here in color order, so it should be pretty easy to find them and attach them here. I'm gonna get these guys, or at least this, out of the way. So I'm gonna use this sheet that Heaven and Earth Designs gives you. You can actually see that I have some of these threads that I've put on my thread rings have extra skeins. So I'm going to go through after and find the ones that have more than one skein and add those to, like I was showing you guys earlier, the little pouch bag. And there are some colors, like you can see this one right here has two. So as I go, I'll throw those in here as well. Yeah. Okay, let's get going on this one. Oh, and I'm just going to use this container for my DMC labels as I throw them off, just so they're not all over my desk. But I did want to mention too, I like keeping some bobbies in my project bag. So that's another thing you can kind of throw in this, or your little travel notions pouch. But these are great just to tie off extra threads. I have them on a few of my projects, and it just keeps them out of the way if you use the parking method. Yeah, so love these, but just wanted to make note of that. But I'm going to use this container that I usually keep them in for the DMC labels. I also forgot to mention that I like to throw in a couple of cable ties into my project bags, because this allows me to tie back extra fabric around a hoop or a Q-snap. So definitely something that I like to have in my project bag as well. Okay, so I wasn't paying attention when I unraveled that skein. I might have pulled the end from the wrong side. You're supposed to pull the end from the number side, or the side that the number label is on. But what you do is get the end of your thread, put it through the hole, and you kind of pinch it on the back. and then you just wrap. Now, sometimes this does get into knots. Just be really light with it. And they should come undone for the most part as you go. If you pulled from the right end, which I hope I did. It's funny, I do this and I feel like I have gotten more skeins that get tangled like this than not. And usually, like when I used to do my thread prep, I never used to get tangly skeins, and now I feel like every one I open is tangly. So I might speed through this process after I do this one, just so you guys can see and don't have to watch me untangle all the threads in real time, because that would be crazy. But see, I feel like I'm having to do this often with my new threads, and I don't know why. Okay, there we go. One thing I like about this too is if you do get a knot, you can put it down and none of this unravels. But so there's my end. I kind of just push it against the thread there. Whether it stays or not doesn't really matter. But once you have your skein wrapped around this winder, or I don't even know what to call this, like I said, you grab your thread scissors, and I pinch on either side of this well here, or groove, just because if you don't, the thread will pop off. So I just like to get a grip of it, and then on the back I'm holding it as well. So you slide your scissors underneath the thread in that groove, cut through them all, and then I like to grab, because my fingers are in the back, I just pull it to the side and grab everything from the center. And then just kind of run your hands over it, and it goes pretty smooth. And then make sure your number is the same as where you're putting it. But then what I will do is you go from the top down into your either your floss drop or your floss card, and then you put the tail through the hole. You put the loop through your floss card or floss drop, and then the tail through the hole, pull it tight, and then there's your first skein on your floss card. And this is how you're able to pull the one strand up from this little, it's not a knot, but this horizontal running thread here. So that's how I do all of them. So I will continue through now that you've seen how I use this. I'm just going to speed through the process, try to get all of these wound, and then I will come back when I'm done. I don't know why I didn't pinch it this way. This is how I usually do it. I don't think I was thinking when I did the first color, but I usually leave the number on, pinch it, and then that's how I pull it through. It can still get knotted this way, but I find it a lot easier. there's one, it's literally all pinks, and this one's kind of got brown undertones, and then this guy, but that's kind of funny. So pretty though. All right, on to the next one. Hi guys, sorry about that. My camera actually died. I was concerned I lost all the footage that I took prepping everything else, but turns out I think you only missed 2 colors, so that's good. What a relief. But anyway, we're good to continue, and I just have one more color to go on this last floss card here, and then I will check back in with you once I've done that. Okay, so that is all of my floss on the floss cards. As you can see, I was thinking while I was doing this that this could have gone on the pink card. This one has some blues in it, could have gone on the blue card. And then this one has some oranges and stuff, and like, I don't know, I find like they could be considered the yellow family, right? Anyway, but those are all done now, and I've got my 2 rings of floss here. So this is all the floss for this project. These are actually pretty heavy, but so pretty. Love it. Also, while my phone had died and it was recharging, what I did was went through my stash and pulled out all the extra skeins that I need for the colors that call for multiples. Like this is 310 black, 310 black, and it calls for 9 skeins total. So I've got 1 on actually it's on the ring, and then I've got 8 in this little baggie here. So these are all the extra flosses that I'll need. And then the only other things I wanted to mention to you guys is just when I'm prepping for a project, I will usually figure out my starting point on the fabric so that when I want to work on this, I know where to go and I can start. However, like I said, I want to wash this because of that stain on here, and I also want to zigzag these edges because they were just cut raw when I bought it, and I did cut this edge raw. So I think I want to go on a sewing machine and zigzag them, or use pinking shears, one or the other. Although using pinking shears will kind of cut it slightly shorter. Not that that's that big of a deal, but just a consideration. What I'm also going to do is, I got these as well from Amazon that arrived just before this video today. Water erasable pens. So these, I tested it on a little test swatch. Amazing. Absolutely love them. They're from Mr. Pen. I'll also link these down below. Everything I use, I will try to link down below. And then if you use my links below, I do get a small commission from it, which I would really appreciate if you did buy from those links, but you absolutely don't have to. You can also find the same products just generally on Amazon. But I think I'm going to grid this project with this pen just because I've started using like Magic Guide or Easy Grid, and I'm really finding I rely on the gridding. So even if I just put dots every 10 squares, I don't know if I'll do a full line or not. I have to figure out what works for me, but I definitely think this is going to be a game changer. So I'm going to throw this in my project bag as well. And then I think all that's left to do is just throw this in my pattern book, or my like make a pattern book, throw it in my cover, which I'll show you how to do. So I pile up all my pages and slide it in between these 2 covers, line it up, and then what I do is pinch either the top or the bottom and slide the binding right over it. And there you have it, a little booklet with your floss information, your instructions, everything. So I throw this in my project bag as well. And then the last thing I use is my tablet. So this is just, you saw my reflection there. This is just my Amazon tablet. So I have Pattern Keeper on here. So I will be using, don't want to show you guys my password. I will be using Pattern Keeper, so you can see my project is right here. So I've uploaded this or downloaded it onto the Pattern Keeper app, and that's how I'll be tracking my stitching. Other than that, let's put everything in this larger bag here with the hoop. And then I think that will be everything. Oh, one thing I was gonna do was actually just, I usually throw my needle minder on here on my fabric. But again, because I'm washing it, I just figured I would show it to you, and I have a little needle here. So look how cute it is. So that'll go on there eventually too. But like I said, because I'm washing it and I'm gonna zigzag the edges, I'm gonna keep this aside, along with my water soluble pen. And I'm going to put both of these in my notions box just to keep with all my stuff. Okay guys, so that is the bag full. And again, this is an A3 bag from Amazon. So I'll just show you inside. It fits everything and lots of extra room, like tons. It's absolutely great. So I have a separate bag that I have for my paper charts that has all of my colored Sharpie highlighters in there. So I'm just going to throw this in there as well, so it's ready when I want to grid that. That is everything. Scissors back in here, and we're ready to go. So this is actually a Whip Go project that I'm hoping gets called for next month. We'll see, but if not, then it's ready to go. Actually, why don't we flip this over so we can actually see what pattern it is. There. There. That looks a lot better. Oh, one thing I actually meant to mention is I usually use Q-snaps. I don't know if I mentioned it previously or not, but I have all my Q-snaps on other projects at the moment. So this hoop I thought was a good size, and I'm really enjoying these hoops. Let me get the name of them for you. So these are the hoops that I use because they actually have, I don't know if you can tell from that photo, but they actually have a little groove on the inside. Here, I'll show you. That I love because it holds the fabric and doesn't let it slip out. I find wooden hoops often let the fabric slip, and then you have to keep pulling them taut. So this actually has a groove on it that fits into the well of the outer hoop so that it pinches your fabric better. And I find these are the best hoops that I've tried. Although I do typically prefer Q-snaps, these are like my second best option for sure. So I have them in 4 different sizes. I just got them from my local Fabricland, and I actually got them half price. So this is just regular price. I got them for half that, which was great. So they were really cheap too, but best ones that I found, and a good heavy duty plastic as well. All right, and that is everything. Thank you guys so much for watching. I always appreciate you clicking on my videos, and if you stayed to the end, a special thank you to you guys. I have also announced that I do want to do a giveaway on my channel very shortly, so if you're not subscribed, subscribe down below, and stay tuned because that is coming up very soon. Thank you guys, and I will talk to you guys soon. Have a great day, morning, evening, whatever it is for you, and Have a hoot stitching, everybody. Bye-bye.